So, okay, we'll talk Jake Paul, because this is really funny. Our friend Chris sent us this. We talked yesterday about we talked 2 days ago, two episodes ago, about the fight, obviously, that he won. And then we talked yesterday about the Island Boys and how they got...
them Island Boys.
I thought I'd never have to hear that again. Apparently, I have not escaped it.
It's a trigger. If you say it, then they say it. Yeah,
you have to say it.
I hear if you say Island Boys 5 times into a mirror, that they will just appear and give you a bad haircut and face tattoos.
Well, I mean, they did admit it that they signed a contract with the devil
that is
to
they
be
did.
famous.
Yeah. It shows.
Mm-hmm.
So this is...
The devil said, screw you.
This is from Mail Online, and it says fight. Oh, by the way, before we get started, everyone put your tinfoil hats on, just in case.
Ready.
You have to have a tinfoil hat on if we're going to talk this.
Sorry, I'm smelling a lot of Sharpie. I think they don't want my brains anymore.
That's possible. Thank you, Miracle. The aliens would use your brain as a control group for research.
They're like, she smelled a little bit too much Sharpie. We're not sure about this one.
So it says, fight fans claim that Jake Paul's brutal win over Tyron Woodley was fixed. They put fixed in all caps. After spotting the YouTuber appears to make a hand signal just seconds before he delivered the knockout blow in round 6 of their rematch. So it says, boxing fans have claimed Jake Paul's victory over Tyron Woodley on Saturday was rigged to let the YouTuber win after spotting an alleged signal from the former to hit the deck. Paul claimed victory in Tampa via a brutal right hand in round 6 that left the former UFC star Woodley, who lost to the streaming star via split decision back in August, floored after the blow. Did either of you watch the knockout, just out of curiosity?
A little bit.
Did you see the actual knockout?
I watched a replay.
Did you see any type of thing that... I saw what they're pointing at. They're basically... His hand goes like this.
Yeah.
He motions inward, but I saw nothing that actually looked like a hand signal to me.
No.
Especially given how fast that sequence takes place in 5 seconds, maybe. To expect him to catch that and make that reaction in that time, I feel it's that's almost giving them both too much credit.
Right.
It's more likely that he just got lucky, caught him with his hands down, and knocked him out.
Well, it's the same thing Mayweather and McGregor. They're just boxers that cash in just the audience. But so maybe they're just acting it out.
Yeah, but that was advertised as an exhibition, meaning there was not going to be any knockout at all.
I don't know. I'm just I'm not interested in this anymore. Jake Paul and Logan Paul kind of ruined it.
But isn't this in some sense the equivalent of the people that just microanalyze certain frames from trailers, like we were talking about Batman last time?
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't seem like there's a lot there, but what do you think?
I don't think there's anything. I think that it's very easy if you're not doing an extremely labor-intensive physical activity to... it's I can't use that example here on this show. But I was watching something recently where they're literally... they're analyzing something that happens by frame. And they're saying... And they're attributing thought processes to each frame that they're analyzing. And I'm like, that's not how the brain works. Right. That's not not something that happens in that split second of time. You don't get to attribute intent and different intent and different thought processes to something that you're processing in real time. Meaning you're watching a tenth of a 30th of a second in over a 5-minute period if something explains it to you. That's not the same thing as being able to legitimately look at movement and see intent there. I saw nothing here that looked like any type of hand signal. Or if it was, they mastered it very, very well.
Yeah.
And I didn't see that here.
I'm always willing to entertain the possibility of a conspiracy.
Yeah, who doesn't love a good conspiracy?
But yeah, I just didn't really see it here. Yep.
It says, and fans have hit out after the fight over the accusation that it was prearranged to let Paul win. One fan took a video of the alleged signal before capturing it, quote, rigged, the twist of the hand to let him know it's time to flop. I mean, his hand was down here, very, very hard to see. And another thing about this is, I've read. You're going to jail the fines are huge, and you can get jail time for fraud for fixing fights because it's through the boxing commission, right?
Yeah.
So there's very, very strong consequences. Not to mention the network Showtime would lose their right to do any type of promotion.
How many people are losing money just betting on these two?
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I'm sure that these are like there's odds for this stuff in Vegas, right? But then again, they do the same thing where they do odds in Vegas for like WrestleMania matches, and that's legitimately prearranged. So like I would love to find out that like Vince McMahon actually made all his money by betting in Vegas on his own product. Like that would be really funny to me. But so more people go into it. I just don't think there is much here as they think there is. This is another tweeted, maybe it's not the punch. Maybe it's not that the punch was fake, though. It's that he was ready to take a dive and Paul went for it enough to actually drop him convincingly. Maybe. Like, maybe. But I don't see, like... Everyone gets in trouble if you fake this. Everyone. And considering how much money comes in from various from these networks to broadcast stuff like that, are they really going to risk it on one fight?
No, that doesn't make any sense. I'm looking at this tweet here. No fighter would ever eat that right hand without at least moving their head to try. I mean, this is armchair quarterbacking.
Exactly. The definition of armchair quarterbacking.
And then attributing a conspiracy behind it.
That was like the part that like that to me, those are people that have never actually like embarked on something of their own. Like that's the quintessential internet commenter, right? They've never actually tried to create something or to do one of these things themselves. They've watched a lot of boxing and then they're making that assumption based on like what they think a pro fighter would do. But these guys aren't pro fighters. Like it's possible that he just caught him slipping. In fact, that's probable. It's most likely what happened.
More likely, yeah, definitely.
And like I said, they keep referring to this twist of the wrist that I just didn't see as noticeable enough to really say that it's not like he got a nod back from the other guy. Now if he's like
doing a weird wink,
like he winks at him and the other guy's okay, like you do that maybe, but we're not seeing that here. It's like this is definitely like it's like pareidolia, right? Like they're seeing something in a vague shape of something, and that's completely different, and they're attributing much more to it than what's actually there.
It's Jesus.
Exactly. It's Jesus is part of my cheese sandwich, or was it an omelet?
It was a tortilla chip.
Okay, it was a tortilla that had Jesus on it.
I think he's been on toast.
He's been on toast also.
That's the one I'm thinking of is toast.
He's been on tortilla chips, toast, walls,
he's got a good agent. Jesus has a good agent. That's all it is. He has a good agent, and he's bringing in lots of deals even after it all. So it says, some fans, however, claim the knockout blow is genuine and defended the undefeated Paul for producing another stellar display in the ring. One fan said, if anyone thinks this was rigged, either is stupid as F or never watched boxing a day in their lives. Y'all discredit no matter what. Shut the F up or step in the ring yourself and do better good win tonight. I don't know what that means. But the point
English
is
much?
what they're saying makes sense, right? Like if you think that that's fake, then go and do it yourself and you'll see how hard it would be to actually fake something like that.
Yeah.
Another claimed, I despise Jake Paul, but it was actually a good, clean shot. It was coming. I called it 10 seconds before. You could see the right hand loading up. Not rigged. No payout. Tyron messed up big time and was slept for it. So another one that's funny to see is how many people are like, I hate Jake Paul, but... And then they continue to go into the fact that they actually like, it looks legit, and I hate to admit that because I would love for Jake Paul to get caught screwing this up and actually admitting that he had somehow set this up beforehand.
Now, that would be a heck of a story.
They could be they could be raw on the fact that the McGregor and Floyd one was like advertised as an exhibition, and a lot of people didn't know that. They went out of their way to not exactly mention that in a lot of the advertising because it was bringing in so much money. So
I don't know. I just don't keep up with fighting anymore. I'm like, I'm done.
Were you ever? Did you follow boxing or MMA at some point?
A little bit, yeah.
Okay, interesting.
What made you lose interest?
I don't know. I just don't like it when they have people who are influencers like Jake Paul and Logan Paul like ruining the sport because they're just doing it. Are you trying to mock me?
What?
Oh, no, I thought you were mocking me.
I mean, I'm going to mock you in a couple seconds, but I haven't yet.
You're ascribing something to a look that didn't happen.
Yeah,
sorry.
You're being these people.
I was like, let me listen here, mister. Don't mock me.
I'm not mocking you.
Duke's up.
I get what you're saying.
Yeah.
wrestling has the same thing, oddly enough, where when people who don't wrestle come in and try to do it, and then you realize how difficult of a sport. I mean, people don't like people calling it a sport. It's basically high impact performance art. Yeah. I used to love wrestling. I watch wrestling usually, but when it's like anything like this. You don't notice it when it's good, but you really notice it when it's bad. So definitely. Like when people can talk all the crap they want on stuff like this, but until they actually see somebody try to do it that doesn't do it well, they don't realize how hard it actually is because the people doing it make it look easy. So boxing's a little bit different, right? I mean, the form matters.
You can't really mess up a punch. Just saying. I think you can mess up a punch. Like acting wise, I don't think you can.
Yeah, there's not a performative element to it necessarily. It's more about the craft than the art. Yeah. I mean, I was a big WWF fan too. Yep. I mean, like that was in many ways that was my introduction to what performance can be. Yep. You know, I remember like growing up in the mountains of Kentucky, and every Saturday night they'd shut down the flea market. I
bet.
And
those territories were huge.
Yeah, man. And then they would set up a ring, and I remember like really appreciating what performance was, because I went on one Saturday night and there was this guy that was like kind of a clown character and was always losing. Yeah, like
jobber.
It always lost, always in tears and crying, you know, playing it up. And then you go back the next Saturday night and a different character, same guy, different character, but he'd be like whipping everybody. And I was just like, wow, this is great.
One of the funniest things I've seen people like, they're like, it's fake, and like, yes, it's predetermined. I'm like, but if you actually look at like when they'll put like regular people through like a day of boot camp, and they have what's called like ring shape, meaning like you can be in the best shape of your life, but that's not the same thing as being able to run a match for 25 minutes. A funny story is that Stone Cold Steve Austin lists as like one of his favorite accomplishments. He was going through his WrestleMania 17 match with The Rock, and his favorite part of the match after he wins is that he pops up on his feet and he's not out of breath after like a 30-minute match. And like that's something that only somebody in the industry would really notice.
I learned that from The Simpsons, because there was an episode where he did boxing and they're like, you don't have to punch because you suck. You just need to like outlast your opponent.
Wow.
And so cool. That's where, so they'll put like people who are, you know, you could be an athlete, but putting them through ring drills and stuff like that, and they're blown up, they can barely breathe and stuff like that, and then you find out that these things there's heavy injuries that can come with this stuff, and they do it 300 days a year back in the day. Like, I don't know if it's still like that. They don't run house shows as much as they used to, especially with COVID, but in that era, they're on the road 300 days a year doing this. You have to be in insane shape to be able to do any of these sports. But
on top of the physical endurance that's required, I mean, there's the performative element, and that's what makes it so singular in terms of performance art. And, you know, I mean, it's like, that's what's really incredible to me about when you think about art forms like that. I mean, it's that juxtaposition of all these different skills and talents that are necessary in order to like pull off an awesome performance.
And it's very much its own thing. Like one of the reasons WWE, and we're getting off topic here, but
that's fine.
It is what it is. One of the reasons
you've already discredited this story.
One of the reasons that people have such a hard time watching it now is that they bring in like Hollywood writers to write these storylines, but it's not a Hollywood medium. It doesn't work that way. And stories get like, they'll run a plot line, you know, like a storyline for like 3 weeks, and then they just abandon it. And like they don't plan well because the companies are so vast and massive now, and there's so much media to consume that it's very hard to keep everything straight. Like the best storylines almost without fail are extremely simple, because it allows those characters to convey not heartfelt, but, you know, raw, very, very visceral emotions. It's usually, you know what it is, right? It's usually loss or pain or revenge. It's something very, very
primitive.
Primitive and
it's
base.
Primitive, yeah.
So when they try to get more complicated, it just doesn't work. Right. Daniel Bryan was successful because he's an underdog. An underdog story is a classic human tale, right? The guy who comes from out of nowhere and against all odds beats the bigger guy. All those things are very, very base human instincts when we think of storytelling. So if they can barely do that in the WWE, well, I struggle to think that Logan Paul and them could fake this. Maybe they could, but that's I personally don't buy it. Yeah. Thanks for watching this clip, guys. If you want to see full episodes or follow us on social media, links are in the description below. Bye.